both fierce and strong. That's quite a compliment to their building skills. Now, if we slide over to page 55, we see all of the steps in making a weetu. In fact, it's entitled A Step-by-Step Weetu. Step number 1. To build a weetu, the people cut down saplings. They trimmed off the branches. Then they dug holes in the ground. They put the saplings in the holes to hold them in place, as you can see in this picture here. Step number 2. The people bent the saplings over, then lashed them together with cord, vines, or animal skins. This made a frame. Very clever. Step number 3. They covered the frame with bark or mats made of grasses and reeds. They left space for a door. They also left a hole in the roof so smoke from the fire could escape. Very nice. The next section is entitled Fall and Winter in the Forests. In the fall, your mother harvests or gathers the crops. She dries some of the beans and other vegetables to save them for winter. Corn that is not eaten fresh is dried on the cob. The women take some of the dried kernels and grind or pound them into flour. They will use the flour to make bread. Your mother always saves some of the seeds to plant next year. Your father watches the sky for signs that winter is coming. When winter is close, you get ready to move away from the shore and into the forest. I'm going to stop right there. The next question asks, where did the Wampanoag spend their winters? Which is on page 56, which I just read. Now is a good time to pause the video and write down your answer. If you can't remember where they spend their winters, rewind the video and hear me read it again. Father digs a deep hole in the earth. He leaves bags of dried food in the hole. He makes sure the hole is deep enough that animals won't dig up the food. We're going to pause again. The last question on this page asks, where did the Wampanoag store their food in the winter? And I did just read it. So you're going to write down in the winter they stored their food, and then you're going to respond. If you don't remember, rewind the video and hear me read it again. Now is a good time to pause the video as you write down your answer. Your mother unties the cattail mats and asks you to roll them up. They are not heavy, so you can carry them to the winter village. Mother carries your baby sister on her back in a cradle board. Winter homes. Your family joins relatives as they return to the winter village. Your father and the other men take out the saplings and bark they saved from the spring. They make a longhouse. You share the longhouse with cousins, aunts, and uncles. You are happy to be with them and tell them what you did all summer. So we are going to explore our newest vocabulary word, which is longhouse. Did longhouse mean born in a place or coming naturally from a place? A Wampanoag summer home made from wood, bark, and grasses? A story that explains how something came to be? A community of families or groups of related families? To prepare food so it will last a long time without spoiling? A long home made of saplings and bark to hold an extended family. If you can't remember, rewind the video and hear me read it again. As we look at this picture, we see a caption right underneath it. A longhouse was like a wetu, but larger and longer. It may have had bark covering the frame instead of mats made of grasses and reeds. Why were winter homes different from summer homes? I'm sure you can think of a good reason why that would be. All right, so now we are looking on page 57. Your mother uses the mats to line the inside walls of the longhouse. This helps keep everyone warm. It also helps you know where your family will be in the longhouse. Inside the longhouse, each family has a fire for cooking. There is not a lot of furniture because the house is mostly used for sleeping. You spend most of your time outdoors. Beds line the walls around the entire house. You have piles of fur to keep you warm. There is always food on one of the cooking fires. Above each fire is a hole in the roof. The smoke goes out through the holes. When it rains or snows, you move a mat or piece of bark across part of the hole. That way the smoke can still get out, but the rain or snow cannot get in. Your father and the other men build a smokehouse. That is where they smoke meat to make it last longer. A time for hunting. Your father hunts deer, bears, squirrels, and raccoons. And we're going to pause. The next question asks us to name 2 animals that the Wampanoag men hunt for meat. And you're going to write down 2 animals they hunted were, and I just gave you a list. If you can't remember, rewind the video and hear me read it again. Now is a good time to pause until you have your answer written down. Now that you're done, we're right here. He has to be fast to follow the animals and be strong to carry them home. He also has to be patient and quiet to hide in the forest. When there is ice on the pond, he makes a hole in it so he can fish with a spear. You eat fresh meat every day. You smoke the rest so you can eat it later. You bundle up in blankets made of fur from deer, raccoons, and beavers. You sit by the warm fire. You listen to your grandparents tell stories. As they talk, the men work on fixing the weak spots in their traps. Turn the page. This is the final page we'll be reading. It's entitled Telling History Through Stories. It is winter and you are tired of being inside. Your grandmother puts a few logs on the fire. She tells you and your brothers and sisters to come and sit around the fire. She begins to tell you a story about how Martha's Vineyard in Nantucket came to be. A giant named Mashop had something to do with it. A story that explains how something came to be is called a legend. Now we're going to pause because that's a highlighted word, which means we're going to see it in our vocabulary list. The word was legend. Did we say that legend was born in a place or coming naturally from a place? A Wampanoag summer home made from wood, bark, and grasses? A story that explains how something came to be? A community of families or groups of related families? To prepare food so it will last a long time without spoiling? A long home made of saplings and bark to hold an extended family. Right? If you can't remember, you can rewind the video and hear me read it again. Here is the legend, beginning right here. Mashop was so big that he used Cape Cod as his bed. One night he had bad dreams. As he tossed and turned, his moccasins filled with sand. He emptied his moccasins one at a time, a short way out to sea. One pile of sand became the island of Noep, or Martha's Vineyard. The other became the island of Nantucket, or Nantucket. You listen closely. Someday you will tell this legend to your own children. Now first we're going to pause and we're going to answer our final question, which says, according to legend, how were Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard formed? To restate, you're going to say, according to legend, the islands were formed by, and then you're going to let me know how they were formed. Now's a good time to pause the video while you write down your answer, and you can certainly rewind to hear the story again. Now that you're done, the only thing that is left to read on this page is going to be this quote, which is right next to the picture. It says, "These are more than stories, you know. They are the heart of our culture." And this was said by a modern Wampanoag storyteller, letting us know that the stories are part of their culture. Good job, everybody.